Hey there, this is Daniel over at SPOTIO, and in today's Feature Spotlight video, we're going to be talking about pipeline versus visit results. These are two of SPOTIO's most key features, and when used appropriately, can give you some great metrics in reporting. So let's get started. In this video, we're going to explain the differences between pipeline and visit results. We're going to demonstrate an advanced pipeline setup, and we're going to also demonstrate a single stage pipeline setup. So one of the biggest questions we get from SPOTIO customers is what is the difference between pipeline stages and visit results? And the answer is really whatever the company wants to make it. We have several customers that will use a very detailed pipeline like we're looking at here to classify out every individual stage of their sales process. So you'll notice these are things like prospecting, inspection, qualified, won, lost, current customer. And the way I describe these is where is this customer currently in your sales process? These are more so stages and less of what is happening at the door when you're out there visiting your leads. And if I come in here and look at my leads, you'll notice that they are all at any given time classified into one of these stages. And you can move them between the different stages. And ultimately what this is doing is building out a sales funnel of your sales process and showing you where your customers are in your process. Now, on the flip side of this, we have a section here called Activities and Results, and this is where you can build out your visit results. So these more or less is what is happening at the door when you're out knocking in the field. And it can be as simple as we see here as no answer versus contacted, which is going to be my first demonstration here today. I'm going to leave it super simple, but you can also build these out to have a lot more detailed options for what is happening at the door or at the business when your reps are out in the field. The first example we're going to do today is for an advanced pipeline in our standard mobile mode. So what that means is we have more than 3 pipeline stages, as you can see here along the bottom of the screen. And we also have the SPOTIO mobile app set to standard mode. I'm going to compare this to door-to-door mode later on when we discuss a single stage pipeline. But for right now, I'm going to go into one of our leads that's currently in that gray prospecting status. I'm going to hit the visit button, and you'll notice that I only have these 2 visit results of either contacted versus no answer. Typically for customers that have multiple pipeline stages, we recommend keeping these visit result options super simple so that we're able to capture what's happening at the door at a very basic level and then have a little bit more of a defined process for our stages and pipeline statuses. So you'll notice with these few examples that I'm doing here, I click into the lead, hit the visit button, put whether or not I was able to make contact with that lead, and then after the fact, I'll click this top gray bar that says prospecting and update the stage of that lead. So this example here, I was able to speak with somebody, but I moved it into a lost status because I was speaking with somebody that was not in need of our product or service. So this is painting 2 parts of the picture. 1, it's showing us that we have a lost customer, but 2, it's showing you that your rep was able to speak with somebody out in the field and generating a contact rate for how many homeowners or business owners they're speaking with out in the field. In addition to this, as you go to these different leads, you're building up a history of all of your interactions. So keeping in mind that the pipeline stages are the statuses of the leads and the visit results are your contact rate, you can see here with the history of this particular lead that we created the lead quite a while ago, have had multiple visits associated with the lead that were no answer, eventually made contact with the lead, which resulted in us switching it to a qualified status and then eventually to a won status at the end of the full process. Now what we're going to do is look at a different setup. So this is the same account, different setup, and you'll notice that we have simplified the number of pipeline stages into what we call a single stage pipeline. So a lead is either in prospecting, meaning we're actively working it, or it is moved into a won or a lost status. What this is doing is simplifying the pipeline, but adding more options in for visit results. So if I zoom into these different visit result options, you'll see that we don't just have contacted or no answer anymore. We have a variety of contacted options. We have the ability to mark a meeting set, leads that are interested, and then ones that tell us to go away or renters or other leads that we might not want to actively pursue. So this is basically adding additional options in the visit results section while keeping it more simplified in the pipeline results section. So when I jump over to the mobile here, you'll notice that the color coding is now different, and that's because we are in door-to-door mode, which is a version of SPOTIO that allows you to be a lot quicker in putting in these visit result statuses, and also shows the color coding of your last visit result as opposed to your pipeline stage. So when I come into this lead here, you'll notice that I'm able to see all of the previous visit results that I put in, and I can hit this log visit button to have a visit result of no answer automatically put in. My pipeline stages are very simplified with just those 3 options there at the top, but then when I click into my visit results selection, I can see all of those different color-coded options and have a lot bigger selection of results. This is typically for companies that do a lot higher volume of lead visits in the field. You know, if you're knocking several doors throughout the day, up into the hundreds, you'll want to make it as simple as possible for your reps to put in those additional results. So as you can see here, for no answer leads, I'm able to add quite a few in a matter of seconds because we have it in this door-to-door mode that's automatically pulling in a default visit result of no answer. But in addition to that, let's say I am able to speak with somebody, I would just come in and update that no answer to one of my other visit result options. I would leave the pipeline stage alone unless I'm actively switching it to a won or a lost status. So again, same information as the other mode we looked at before, but a lot quicker of a method of updating those leads. And again, this is prioritizing that visit result status over the pipeline stage as to what we're looking at here from the map. You'll also notice if I zoom out in door-to-door mode, the color coding is set based on the last visit result, but in both modes, you're actually able to switch what the color coding looks like. So you'll notice here, I just switched it from last visit result back to pipeline stage, and you can come in hitting that top right icon to open your layers and switching into the colorize option. You can come in here and switch between those 2 options in both door-to-door and standard mode from the app. So which of these options is best for you? Well, let's start by looking at the 2 different setups we just went through. We have our single stage versus our advanced pipeline setups, each paired with either a detailed visits view or a simplified visits view. Now, both of these are designed for different types of teams. The single stage pipeline with more detailed visit results is designed for teams that log a lot more visits in the field and have a shorter sales cycle. This is typically our traditional door-to-door sales companies, and the most important metric being generated for this type of setup is going to be activity. This is also for teams that don't have a pre-existing sales pipeline, meaning they don't have predetermined stages that they're wanting to track and manage. The advanced sales pipeline is going to be more so designed for teams that have longer sales cycles but log less or less detailed visits in the field. These companies will have their most important metric being conversion, and they also have a pre-existing sales pipeline in place, meaning that before they even signed up with SPOTIO, they already had these different stages that they want to see and track their different leads through. So the biggest difference between these 2 setups is really going to be the industry and type of metrics you're looking to generate. If your company primarily goes door-to-door residentially, looks to log a certain number of door knocks or in-person visits on a regular basis, we usually recommend the single stage pipeline with more detailed visit result options. On the flip side of that, if your company has a lot more of a predetermined sales process, meaning they have very specific stages and want to be able to track how well leads are doing progressing through those stages, while at the same time not necessarily putting the utmost importance on the number of visits or in-person visits in the field, we would recommend the advanced pipeline with simplified visits. Now, either of these are going to be able to give you the tracking and metrics that you're wanting to see, but depending on what type of setup and which metrics are the most important to you, we would recommend going with one of these 2 options in your initial setup. And that's all I have for you today, guys. Once again, this was the pipeline versus visit results SPOTIO feature spotlight video. Please be on the lookout for additional SPOTIO feature spotlights in the future that cover other features and other setups within your SPOTIO account.